In this video, we'll be talking about what does the Federal Reserve do? Like, what's its functions and its purpose? One thing, they clear checks. So if you get a check from your job, or someone writes you a check to buy your car or whatever it is, there's a clearing process that happens with a check. It doesn't just simply go straight into your bank, meaning the money goes straight in your account. So let's say you sold your car for $4,000. Well, what needs to take place is you put it into your bank, the bank sends that off, the Federal Reserve is the one to look into the other account to see if the funds are available. If the funds are there, then the $4,000 put into your account. If it's not, this means that the check has bounced, meaning that it's not worth its value, and now you have deposited a bad check, and now you're stuck with a check that is just paper. And this is why a lot of businesses don't accept checks anymore, for that reason, because if they did, they could be losing lots of money. So how does this Federal Reserve serve the federal government? Well, first, the Federal Reserve is kind of like the personal banker for the federal government. It's their job to make sure that the banking industry is running well. And then you have the Treasury Department. It's kind of like the checking account of all the balances that are in there. So it's the job of the Federal Reserve to write checks like Social Security, be able to write checks for tax returns, monitoring banks and stuff like that. So it's really the bank account of the whole thing. The U.S. Mint is a part of that. The printing of currency is a part of this. And the Federal Reserve Bank in New York City, they're responsible for a lot of this printing and holding on to a lot of bonds that are out there. So we've looked at Treasury bonds, we looked at T-notes before, and so the Treasury Department is the one that collects those and hangs on to them. And then currency, printing the currency. All of your different coins, all of your different types of bills are all part of that. Now, let me get this out of the way here. 49,315. Keep that in mind. So, how does the Fed serve member banks? Check clearing. 49,000 plus checks, if not more now, are cleared on a daily basis that are circulating back and forth. So, taking money from one account, putting it to another account. And then lending practices. It's their job to if bank holding company that owns more than one bank, it's their job to monitor these banks. If you ever heard of truth in lending loan, what that means is that the Federal Reserve makes sure member banks are giving proper terms for a loan. Meaning, let's say you need to borrow $10,000 for school in the fall or when you go to college. Well, the bank can give you a private loan. And what they have to do is they have to have truth in lending law, meaning that they have to be honest with you of what they're giving. So they can't give you $10,000 and say, we're giving you a 3% interest rate, and then next month charge you 20% interest rate. That would not be truth in lending. So they have to be straight up honest before you sign the paperwork. So whenever you take out a loan, it gives you the amount, which is the principal. It has the interest rate, which is how much you'll be paying on top of the loan. And then also it's going to give you a time frame, how long it's going to take you to pay this back with interest. And then they also monitor bank mergers. So if U.S. Bank and Wells Fargo wanted to merge together, the Federal Reserve would be the one to monitor that to see if it's in the best interest of its customers, of the U.S., and all of the other stakeholders who are involved with it. Now, in addition to that, when banks are low on money, they can do one of two things. They can do lending to banks where the federal fund rate is interest rate that banks charge each other for loans. So if Wells Fargo and U.S. Bank want to borrow money from each other for whatever reason, they would be giving each other a federal fund rate. Now, the way they set these rates is they want to make sure the rate is competitive, but at the same time, they don't want to burn the bridges. So let's say Wells Fargo borrows from U.S. Bank at 3%. Well, when it's on the other side and it flipped, they'll probably do the same thing, 3%. If Wells Fargo said, we're going to charge you 10%, well, then next time they're in a need for more currency, it would just go back and forth. And then there's something called a discount rate. The discount rate is where interest rate that Fed charges commercial banks for loans. So if U.S. Bank needs more money, they could take out a loan from the Federal Reserve, who would then offer it to them with terms on what that looks like. And then also on top of that, we have roll expansion, buy debt from corporations and extend loans. And this happened during happened during the recession, the 2000s, 2008, 9. During that time, you actually had the Federal Reserve buying up debt from corporations and extending loans to companies that were going bankrupt. So the banking industry, the car industry, some of the housing market was receiving that, and the Federal Reserve buy up the debt. And we'll explain later how that works. Now, another thing that they do is regulating the banking industry. So they do audits, and what they do is they audit these banks to make sure that there is enough reserves or enough cash for the day-to-day transactions that are taking place. In addition, they do bank examinations to make sure all truth in lending loans are being followed, and you also have to identify the amount of risks they're taking on loans. And when they're audited, if they're a member of FDIC, if they're taking too many risky loans, they have to sell those off. Like, they have to get rid of it because they're too much of a risk. And this is a great way to keep the banking industry honest. In the last few years now, I can't remember how many years ago it was now, but Wells Fargo was busted for their tellers and their bankers for creating new accounts for clients who never started a new account. And the whole idea behind that was that there was a commission base every time a teller would send a customer off to a banker, and that banker was able to open an account. There was a commission for the banker and there was a commission for the teller. And so they were creating these false bank accounts, false opening of other things in order to meet their quotas, because they were all on quota to make sure that they were pushing their services. So being audited is a good way for them to keep the banks honest. And then regulating the money supply. How much money is out there? Like, if you print too much money and too much money is in the economy, well, then that means that you're going to have high inflation. So regulating the amount of that, stabilizing the economy by making sure that the inflation rates on products are not going up so dramatically that the currency value is going down. And then also on the other side of keeping up with GDP, by making sure that GDP grows, you want to make sure you have enough money available. And we'll talk about that in the next section, how the amount of printed money regulates how the economy is running. So, demand for money, stabilizing the economy. This all ties into play. When there's more money available, you find that GDP is generally going to grow because more people are holding onto it and investing that money. When there's less money available, you then find that people are spending less because they don't have as much of it. And that is the end of Chapter 16, Section 2.